It began as a whisper across the 9 realms, a shiver in the roots of Yggdrasil itself. The world tree, ancient and eternal, quaked as if burdened by an invisible weight. From the shimmering courts of Asgard to the fiery pits of Muspelheim, every seer, shaman and star reader spoke of a coming collision, a war between 2 forces so absolute that even gods would not stand in their path. In the golden halls of Asgard, Odin All-Father sat upon the high seat, Gungnir across his knees, his one eye locked in a gaze toward the distant void. "It stirs again," he muttered, his voice laced with dread. The court fell silent, for all knew what it meant. Far beyond the stars, past the shimmering veil of Asgard's borders, deep in the cold emptiness between realms, Mangog was awakening. Sealed away for eons in a prison of Odin's making, the living embodiment of the hatred of a billion slaughtered beings felt the first cracks in his cage. Each insult spoken across the realms, each war waged, each whisper of malice fed him. Hatred flowed into him like molten fire, until his prison could no longer contain the storm inside. The barrier shattered in a roar that could be heard in the dreams of kings. Mangog stepped forth, his hulking form blotting out distant starlight. His eyes burned with the fury of civilizations lost, and each breath he exhaled carried the weight of 1,000 massacres. "Odin," he growled, his voice a thunderclap across the cosmos. "I will end what I began, and the 9 realms shall burn in the echo of my vengeance." But far away, in an entirely different reality, another titan stirred. One whose existence had nothing to do with hatred, yet whose power was no less terrifying. In the crimson cosmos, the Trion aspect of Cyttorak opened its infinite eyes. Where the mortal Cain Marco was merely the Juggernaut, Trion Juggernaut was the unchained avatar, a living extension of Cyttorak's will, an unstoppable force woven from the fabric of godhood itself. The crimson god's voice boomed within his champion. "My avatar, a disturbance approaches. It challenges the dominion of your unstoppable force. It is not of my realm, yet it dares to stride as if none can stop it. Go, show it the truth." The Trion Juggernaut stepped from the crimson cosmos into the mortal plane, each footfall distorting reality, bending space and time like soft clay. In his presence, mountains flattened, oceans boiled, and the very laws of physics hesitated. Reality itself seemed to make way for him, for once he moved, nothing could deny his advance. The rift between dimensions trembled as Mangog, driven by his lust for Asgard's destruction, found his path barred by a figure unlike any he had faced. Juggernaut stood in the void, his armor gleaming with the eerie glow of the crimson cosmos, his presence radiating an infinite immovable certainty. Mangog's lip curled into a snarl. "Step aside, little mortal in God's armor. I have no quarrel with you. My hatred is for Odin and his brood." But Juggernaut's voice was calm, resonating with the deep, endless echo of Cyttorak himself. "You go nowhere. You move forward. I move forward. We meet, and nothing survives between us. You will find no victory here." A wave of fury surged through Mangog, his body swelling with the hatred of countless beings. "Then you will be the first to fall before the end." In that moment, realms trembled. Asgard's observatories lit with warning flames, Midgard's skies tore open with crimson lightning, and across dimensions, beings of power turned their eyes toward the confrontation. It was not merely the meeting of 2 warriors, it was the meeting of 2 absolutes. The first clash was not yet physical, but the air between them shimmered as their power met in a silent collision. Juggernaut's unstoppable force pressed against Mangog's unyielding mass of hatred, and space groaned under the strain. Odin rose from his throne, summoning the Bifrost in desperation. "If they meet here," he warned, "the realms will be undone." But it was too late. The 2 titans began their march toward each other, one an embodiment of hatred that could never die, the other an avatar of godhood that could never be stopped. With each step, suns dimmed. With each breath, stars seemed to falter. And in the cold space between worlds, the greatest collision in history was about to begin. The void between realms erupted in a soundless explosion, as Mangog and Trion Juggernaut met at last. There was no pause, no testing of strength. Their first blows were thrown with the full intent to end the other. Mangog's fist, heavy with the rage of a billion dead, swung first. It struck with the force of collapsing worlds, tearing open a shockwave that shattered distant asteroids into cosmic dust. Juggernaut took the hit squarely to the chest, not dodging, not flinching, and responded with a palm strike that sent Mangog hurtling back into a dying star. The star exploded on impact, bathing them both in searing light, but neither slowed. They closed the distance again instantly. This time their fists collided mid-swing, the force rippling across galaxies. Entire civilizations on distant worlds looked to their skies in terror as the night sky twisted, constellations warping from the backlash. "Your blows are strong," Juggernaut said, voice unshaken even as space cracked around them. "But strength without inevitability is just noise." Mangog roared, his body growing even larger, his muscles swelling as if hatred itself was feeding him mid-fight. "You will learn that nothing stands against hatred eternal." He slammed both fists into Juggernaut's shoulders, forcing the avatar to the ground. For the first time, the unstoppable was driven to his knees. Juggernaut's helmet gleamed as he rose slowly, his eyes burning with crimson fire. "I don't stop, I don't break, and I don't fall." He charged, and the cosmos itself seemed to lean away from his momentum. Mangog braced, planting his feet into the fabric of space, but the impact was apocalyptic. A nearby moon shattered into a rain of molten rock as Juggernaut plowed into Mangog, driving him through the crust of a planet and into its molten core. The planet didn't survive the intrusion. Its surface split apart, oceans vaporized, and its death cry echoed in gravitational waves that reached the farthest stars. Out of the boiling magma, Mangog rose again, steam rising from his charred but regenerating flesh. His grin was savage. "Good, now you're worth hating." They fought on, moving from one dying world to the next, each strike rewriting the landscape. Mangog's claws ripped through Juggernaut's armor, sending fragments spinning into the void. Juggernaut responded by unleashing waves of crimson cosmos energy, warping reality around Mangog, trying to slow the behemoth's endless rage. But Mangog's hatred tore through the distortions like paper. For what seemed like days, they battled without rest, neither slowing, neither weakening. Each exchange became more feral, headbutts that shattered continents, throws that hurled each other through the crusts of worlds, energy blasts that ripped holes in the void. At last, Juggernaut realized that brute force alone would not be enough. Mangog's hatred was endless. The longer they fought, the stronger Mangog would become. The key wasn't to destroy him, it was to remove him from the field entirely. Tapping deeper into Cyttorak's power, Juggernaut's form expanded, glowing with a blinding crimson aura. Space and time warped violently as his presence merged with the crimson cosmos itself. Mangog lunged for him, claws ready to tear through reality. But this time, Juggernaut met him not just with muscle, but with raw dimensional force. "Unstoppable means you don't just beat the wall," Juggernaut growled, his voice layered with the echo of Cyttorak. "You tear the wall out of existence." The ground, if such a thing could exist in the void, gave way as Juggernaut charged at full power. His momentum became infinite, his body an arrow of inevitability. The impact struck Mangog with such force that it pierced the barriers of the physical universe. Crimson light engulfed them both as Juggernaut drove Mangog through dimensions, dragging him into the endless depths of the crimson cosmos. There, in the heart of Cyttorak's realm, Mangog's hatred faltered. The crimson cosmos was pure will made manifest, Cyttorak's will, and it did not feed hatred, it consumed it. Mangog roared, striking Juggernaut again and again, but his blows weakened, the infinite hatred that sustained him burning away under the Red God's domain. Juggernaut lifted him by the throat, his voice final, "You can hate forever, but here, forever is mine." With a final heave, he hurled Mangog into the infinite void of Cyttorak's prison, where the crimson light sealed shut like a titan's jaws. The void fell silent. Across the realms, the quake ceased, stars steadied. Juggernaut stepped back into reality. His armor cracked, his breathing heavy, but unbowed. He looked toward Asgard's distant light, then turned away without a word. For the unstoppable force had proven itself once more, not by breaking Mangog, but by removing him from the path entirely. It had been close, dangerously close, but in the end, inevitability had triumphed over hatred.